All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. I got a co-host here. What's your name again?
Who's that?
Who's that over there? We're in his office over here, Robert Benenati. Fuck that up all the time. What am I doing? All right, so I have a different subject from some things I've been gathering here. I just been throwing stuff at him today. I didn't even let him know what I'm talking about. Right?
What are we talking about now?
That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to call this one, so you don't have a degree, so what?
All right, I'm out of here.
So, because I know you're a realtor.
Yes.
And sometimes I like to incorporate that into this. And if you don't know anything about the real estate business, truthfully, all you need to do is go to class for a week, or you can extend it for a certain amount of time, a semester, whatever the hell. It's, 45 hours of classroom time, right?
Yep.
Then you do post-licensing.
Yeah, you could do it in a crash course in 8 days, 7 days. You could do it, 2 weeks out, 1 month, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I had my real estate license. So, and then you have to pass the classroom exam. I think you need a 70 or above. And I think when you go for the state exam, a 75 or above, correct?
Same, yep.
Something in that nature. So it's not like some degree that you'd have to go to a major university or even a junior college or online, whatever. And, a lot of people I know, even with degrees or without them, get their real estate license.
Yeah,
Right?
lawyers, yeah.
Everybody. I even had my mortgage license. And I did nothing with mortgage. I never did anything with really real estate except hang out in my ex-mother-in-law's commercial real estate office. But we're not going to talk real estate here. What do you think now, in your opinion, about, spending money, because you have you got you have a few kids, but about, them getting ready to go to college? Because I have 2 kids in college right now. Do you think, in your opinion, would you tell them, say hypothetically, hey, go get your real estate license, come and work with me and take over my business, or go to Valencia for 2 years, or go to, I think one of them does, or go to UCF, or go wherever and spend all that money? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I would tell them to do what they want to do.
Sure.
What they love to do. Because even if I wanted to bring them into the business and they don't like it, then there's no use. Right?
For sure. But say they wanted to do real estate. Would you tell them, do real estate, don't go to college?
No, probably not. I would probably tell them, do college. In the meantime, instead of working someplace else, do real estate. I can help you out, obviously, right? You have leverage here. And that's what I would tell them, Get your real estate license, do that, have it hung, see what you could do with it, but go to college. Instead of having to work for, a salary and put, I don't know, whatever it is, 30, 40 hours a week, and then try to study at the same time.
I'm seeing more and more, I can't see colleges to a certain degree being exposed because during COVID, a lot of our kids, or some of mine, and even some of, I guess, basically my stepkids, they're doing things online now because they can't go to the universities. They were charging a lot of money to go to these universities. And if you're not going to the universities and kind of experiencing that, is what they're learning truthfully worth the money they're spending if they can just go online?
No. That's a no. We have to understand, school is a business.
Yeah. It's an experience.
It's a business.
Yeah.
No, it's a bit, for them it's business.
For sure.
Right? You can learn the same or close to the same just by going on YouTube, I guess. Let's say, right? Yes, there is a formal education, right, on how to, write an essay, or which helps you to create content, to write a book, or whatnot, right? Language and grammar and all that. Now, if you're studying something as medicine or vet or anything that has to do with chemistry and science and biology, that's different.
That's a whole different monster.
Right. But, for example, business, they could probably teach you a little bit about economics, micro and macroeconomics or whatever, get a little bit more educated. But at the end of the day, how many people nowadays have some other sort of profession, right? A CPA, or let's just say, right?
Yeah.
Now you're an accountant, but you end up doing something else that has nothing to do with
Most people.
I learned this from other countries. There was, and it's usually in South America, this happens. Colombia,
Sure.
Argentina, where they study to become a CPA, an accountant, or whatever it is, and they end up driving a cab or working someplace else that has nothing to do, or they leave the country, right?
Sure.
And now that doesn't help them in any way.
Yeah.
You know how many professional Venezuelans have immigrated to the U.S. and are painting homes and driving cabs and cooking?
Tons.
Nothing to do with their profession.
Right.
So at the end of the day, and then we have, on the other hand, here in people in the States that have a profession, they end up going into this e-commerce or YouTube or whatever the case is, and they do hundreds or millions of dollars in revenue doing something that has nothing to do with their education, with their formal education.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've seen multimillionaires like Bezos or all these gurus that tell you don't need an education to make it big.
Right.
Does it help? Yes, of course.
Right. You think we're programmed though to tell our kids?
Yes.
Right.
I know
to go to school. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, if it takes $100,000 to get a piece of paper that says you have this degree, now I'm not saying they're not going to learn.
Dude, it's the same norm. It's like saying you should get married, and you should form a family, and you should get a big house, and you should. Yeah. It's like we're programmed for all this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to visit a lot of like major universities and hang out there, like from Harvard, Princeton, Yale. I've been to all of them numerous times. Hung out Harvard Square, all these places. I love Princeton, and I used to. Go there and, you eat in the restaurants, hang out in the bars, coffee houses. And I used to say, you know what, like I said earlier, this is kind of, you're paying for an experience. Now, those are extreme schools. I mean, you got to be exceptionally brilliant. But I do find it interesting, too, as time goes on, you're finding out, to a certain degree, how corrupt they are as well. But a lot of students getting in these that don't belong in there, too. So, well, that's life in general. If it's really about who you know. But I'm going to throw this at you. So, you have your own business. Instead of saying, hey, girls, I think because you have girls, I want you to go to college. How about saying for a year, hey, I'm going to help you start your own business of something that you love to do. Instead of, say, spending $20,000 or $40,000, let's take a year off. And I'm going to teach you what I've learned, and we're going to try to incorporate it into what you want to create. Because you were...
If that were a decision they had that they don't want to go to school, or they tried it and it's not really what they want to do, then of course I would help them some other way, right? Get them.
Well, say they were debating on college or debating on starting a business. Where are you at with that?
Tough question. I would like for them to get a degree, right, and go to college and then do whatever it is, but at least they have something to fall back on. And I think that is where we all get caught up on. Okay,
right.
Get your degree, but then go do something else if you want to. But at least you have a degree, and then at that point you decide. You have option A and B.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it's interesting, and things are changing nowadays.
Yes.
A lot of people are becoming successful, not having to do anything with a degree, at all.
Especially the younger they start, because I think a lot of times we still, no matter what, say, yeah, go get the degree, and then you can kind of go do what you want to do. And the reality is they get a degree, they're in debt a lot of money, and then there's no job openings in what they want to do, or they go do something they think they're going to like. I
think this is going more towards skills than really what you have a degree to show. So, for example, a lot of businesses are depending on marketing, video marketing, right?
Right.
Social media. And the young kids that know how to manage these platforms could find a job very easy, and they don't need a degree.
Right.
Show me what you could do for my business, and I'll pay you.
Yeah.
And I'll pay you well.
Yeah, it's very interesting you say that. I remember Full Sail, a bunch of my buddies at Full Sail, if they went into gaming, right, it's programming.
Right.
It was huge. You can get an unbelievable job. You go into it for music, when you come out, the fuck you going to do? right? Just saying.
At that point, it's who you know, and
yeah,
and
if you're a
you get
roadie, or you could start your own music company right in your own bedroom. You could start creating music. You could start working for people. You could go intern at a radio station. So a lot of guys would say leave Full Sail in debt, I don't know, $40,000, $80,000, $100,000, depending on whatever it was. And they were in debt all this money. They learned a lot of things about music, which is wonderful. But they could have most likely learned a lot of those things through someone else, or like I said, intern experience. So I think what it really comes down to a lot of times, regardless, degree, college, is surrounding yourself around people, I think, truly that can, one, help you get to where you want to be for the least amount of money, maybe,
Right.
with the least amount of stress. I talk about that with the film industry, too. Like my daughter, if she wanted to go to Full Sail, I'm like, after you graduate, what are you going to do? You got to go to L.A. or you got to go to Georgia. Start there. You don't get an education somewhere else in that industry and go there and be an outsider. If you want to break it in the film industry, you go to college there, or you go do whatever you want to do it there. But at least you start, and you start to flow right into it. It's not like being an outsider from Florida. Now I go to L.A. and I don't know a single soul, and I got to start all over almost.
Yeah. So, for example, one of my daughters, she wants to study to become a vet.
Right.
Now, to become a vet, you can't just...
That's a whole different thing.
That's a different story, right? But
Of course.
what would I do with her is probably guide her on how to become her own, or open up her own shop versus being a vet and working for somebody else.
Right.
Right? That's where the business side comes in.
Sure.
My younger one, she's an entrepreneur at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from a very young age. I would like for her to, go to college, to get a degree, to maybe have a better structure.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest, she's going to learn from like I did, trial and error.
Exactly.
And who you know, and being creative and have that drive, which she has, right?
Right.
And can I help her? Yes, I can help her.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot help her have the drive that she needs. But she has that already.
Yeah.
And what does school teach her? Well, structure. How to plan, how to, do your Excel, and
Right.
all the behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, you can study business
Mm-hmm.
and never be successful because you don't have what it really takes.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
so.
Yeah, and I back to the internship, I used to tell my daughters, because one wanted to be in fashion at one time, one wanted to be in film. I'm like, listen, instead of you kind of going to pay to learn, first go intern, do something for free, or just do things that you can do to see if that's truly what you want to do. Because I think a lot of people, what they think they want to do,
That's
say
what
the
I did
film
with my
industry.
daughter. We sent her to volunteer at the vet.
Yeah.
And I said, before you even decide if this is what you want to do, why don't you go
Absolutely.
at it, right? And she loves it. And now now you know this is what you want to do, right? Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're on the right track.
It's good stuff. So yeah, I think a lot of people with this COVID and pandemic and stuff are just thinking completely differently about a lot of things. Not only college, I think private school in general, online, all these type of things. So, all right, let's wrap it up there, brother. All right, you can find Robert's podcast and himself.
Real Business Podcast, yeah. YouTube.
Yeah, I'm always looking at this Real Business Podcast thing over here.
We're in my studio, so no.
Yeah, we got a studio set up at his office over here. He's in Dr. Phillips. You get a chance, definitely hit him up. And he's also on YouTube. You don't do Twitter though.
I have the account. I just don't. Yeah, there's too many platforms.
It is.
I got Pinterest, which I never use, but Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. What else is out there?
I don't know.
Snapchat, TikTok. I mean, I don't know.
What the?
I don't have all that, but
Can you imagine? All right, you know where to find me. If not, you're on your own. All right, take care, everyone.